Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of The Horror Show. And the reason why it is so exciting is because today we're doing a Q&A with me, Susie Von Slaughter. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, number one, what does the modern horror scene lack and how would you change it? From Rob Cordery. This I felt was a bit of a trick question. Now, in modern horror movies, I feel that things are a bit too predictable, but at the same time, as for the modern horror scene, I think it's actually gotten a lot better because of the internet and everybody has information at, the palm, literally at the palm of their hands. I think that it has grown and reached audiences otherwise you wouldn't be able to do back in the day. So I think that a lot of, the younger generation, they're getting, it's going to a lot more people than otherwise would have, like I said, would have been reached. So, like, as I said, so modern horror movies, I think it's too predictable. There's not a lot of ideas, but as the horror scene as a whole, there's so many more groups and conversations going on, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So, number two, what character would you like to play in a horror movie? Also from Rob. I think a character I would like to play would be the one that no one suspects, but is actually like the killer. Like, I know it's really hard to believe because everyone would probably suspect me at first, but it's the one that's kind of like on the sidelines, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happened. But it turns out that the whole plan and the idea was actually mine and everybody gets killed and I just kind of, walk away. No one suspects a thing. Okay, so number three, what's one horror movie you cannot stand and one you could watch every single day? From Brandon Jerks. So, let's see what I put. The movie I cannot stand was actually one that we watched and reviewed recently, which is the new Hellraiser. The reason why I cannot stand it is because they took something that could be done so simply, beautifully, executed amazingly, and they didn't. And it was really hard to watch, and there were just a lot of things in it that was completely unnecessary. One I could watch every day would be Cabin in the Woods. Why? If you all know me, then I love horror and comedy, and Cabin in the Woods puts that together great, and I literally could watch that movie every single day. It's so funny. Okay, number four, favorite and least favorite 80s horror movies from Megan Dunn. Favorite would have to be Nightmare on Elm Street. For obvious reasons, again, if you guys all know me, you already know that. The one that I hate would have to be Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Manhattan. I'm not a very big Jason fan, and I think that Jason Going to Manhattan, it's one of those things that's like, okay, so we get it, he's going to slash people, but it sounds like, like the Ernest movies where it's like, Ernest scares stupid, Ernest goes to camp. It's like, sounds like one of those kind of things. It's like, alright, it's done. It's over with. It's dead. You killed it. Alright, number five. Which movie are you looking forward to more, Meg or Halloween? Well, if I had to pick one, I would actually say Halloween. Because, again, it is one of those iconic movies. So, even though I may not be a big fan, I still like to see it to, again, keep up with what's going on. Alright, so, number five. Let's see. Nope. Sorry, number six. I can't count. What movie are you most looking forward to, if not one of those? Russell Jardine. So, one movie I am looking forward to is The Nun. I'm a huge James Wan fan. I think the man is absolutely brilliant in everything that he does. So, The Nun, I love how every one of his movies kind of has the story way into each one. Like, there's one that takes apart from everything that he does. So, alright. Number seven, what's been your favorite moment on The Horror Show? From Mickey Ross. My favorite moment on The Horror Show would have to be, I know there's so many, but it would have to be when I met Elvira. And not only did I meet Elvira, Cecil and I, we were standing in line for a long time at Mad Monster, and I didn't think that we'd be able to meet her, and Cecil's like, no, like, stand in line. And you know how I am when meeting celebrities, I'm usually pretty calm, but she is such a huge icon of mine that when I actually met her, and I was telling Cecil this, if she compliments my makeup, says anything, like, I will die. And so we had managed to get a station ID from her. And as we were leaving, she actually stopped me and she said, "Oh, by the way, your makeup is," I can't remember, she said, "Your makeup is great." And I died. I was like, "Thank you." And that was the most greatest moment to me. So if it hadn't been for Cecil, who pushing me and telling me to stay, that probably wouldn't have happened. So thank you, Cecil, my bestest friend. Okay, number 8. Is there a genre or director you cannot stand? From Paul Cottrell. So, anything A24, anything really Jaime recommends. So, I think we can move on. Number 9. What movie made you fall in love with horror? Dylan Clancy and Sandra W. What movie made me fall in love with horror? And that would have to be, again, Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy is my man. And so I'm also super excited for Mad Monster this year in Arizona because Robert Englund is actually going to be there. So you best believe I'm going to be on the news because I'm going to probably tackle the man. So number 10, what horror film really rattled your cage? So that would actually have to be The Human Centipede. That movie, I could not even watch the South Park parody episode, The Human Centipede, because that movie just fucked me up so bad. And what's even worse is that I'm that type of person where it's like a train wreck, you can't look away. I saw the second one and I'm still like, and the whole time watching the second one I'm just like, oh god. But that is one movie that really stayed in my mind and really fucked with me for a very long, very long time. I don't think I could even rewatch it. Okay. So, number 11, what horror film affected you the most and why aren't you a member of KF? Lee McCoy. What horror movie affected me the most? I think Cecil can attest to this when we were watching The Conjuring 2 because I have actually, and I don't care what anyone says, I actually experienced a lot of the things that went on in that movie, and because there are children involved in that movie and I have children of my own, that's what really kind of freaked me out. I was crying. I was a mess. You can ask Cecil about it. I was shaking the whole time because I felt like I was being put right back in that situation, and because there are children involved, like I automatically think of mine and it just gets shit out of me. So anyway, all right. And why aren't I a member of KF, which is Killer Flicks? I don't know. I couldn't honestly tell you. So and last but not least, number 12, what's the one quintessential horror movie in your eyes? Jamie Honeycutt. Well, that would have to be Nightmare on Elm Street. That is one of those movies that is such a classic, and Freddy Krueger is such an icon in the horror scene that it's one of those things you can't not have it, like whether in your collection or someone who's just starting out with horror movies. That is the one you really have to start out with. He's made such a huge impact, and even still now is such a huge character, and always will be in my eyes. I don't think that anything will top Freddy Krueger, where, you know, because it's not just his weapons of choice, you know, the fingers, but it's his attitude and just everything that just really shakes people, and I love him. And like I said, I'm going to be on the news because Robert Englund, watch out, I'm coming for you. So thank you guys so much for all your questions. Tune in again next time for another episode of The Horror Show, and remember, stay scared.